Most people spend their entire lives fighting the wrong enemy. They blame other people, bad luck, failure, even the world itself. But none of those are the force holding them back. The greatest battle has always been invisible. It begins the moment fear speaks louder than courage, comfort becomes stronger than discipline, and doubt convinces you to stop before you've truly begun. Real strength is not measured by how many opponents you can defeat. It is measured by whether you can conquer the voice inside that tells you to quit. Today you will discover the hidden principles of inner warfare, and by the end of this journey, you may realize that your true enemy has been standing beside you every single day in the mirror. Before you try to overcome any challenge in the outside world, pause and examine the one that exists within you. Many people believe their greatest obstacles are other people, difficult circumstances, or a lack of opportunity. In reality, the most powerful barrier is often the story they repeat in their own minds. Thoughts such as, "I'm not ready," "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed," quietly shape every decision they make. Left unchallenged, these beliefs become invisible chains that limit their actions long before reality does. Your mind can become your strongest ally or your greatest opponent. Every thought you accept without question influences your confidence, your choices, and ultimately your future. If you constantly feed your mind with doubt, hesitation becomes your habit. If you repeatedly focus on fear, every opportunity begins to look like a threat. The battle is not against the world, it is against the patterns of thinking that convince you to surrender before you have even begun. True strength begins with awareness. Instead of believing every thought that appears, learn to observe it. Ask yourself whether it is helping you grow or keeping you trapped. The moment you stop allowing negative thoughts to control your actions, you begin to reclaim your freedom. Your circumstances may not change overnight, but your response to them will. And that is where real transformation starts. Every meaningful victory begins with mastering this unseen battlefield. When you take command of your thoughts instead of being ruled by them, your confidence becomes steadier, your decisions become clearer, and your actions become more deliberate. The greatest opponent is not standing in front of you. It is the voice inside that whispers you cannot move forward. Silence that voice through consistent action, and you will discover that the path ahead was never blocked. It was simply waiting for you to believe you could walk it. Fear is one of the most misunderstood forces in life. Many people believe fear is an enemy that must be destroyed before they can move forward. They wait for the perfect moment when all uncertainty disappears, when confidence feels complete, and when success seems guaranteed. That moment rarely comes. Fear is not a locked door standing in your way. It is simply a signal that you are stepping into unfamiliar territory. Growth has always lived beyond what feels comfortable. Think about every skill you have ever learned. The first attempt was awkward. The first conversation felt uncomfortable. The first challenge seemed overwhelming. Yet with every step forward, what once frightened you slowly became familiar. Fear did not disappear because you waited. It became smaller because you continued moving despite its presence. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act even while fear is whispering reasons to stop. The greatest danger is not fear itself. The greatest danger is obedience to fear. The moment you allow fear to make your decisions, it quietly begins shaping your future. It convinces you to postpone your goals, avoid difficult conversations, reject new opportunities, and remain inside the safety of routines that no longer help you grow. Day after day, those small decisions create a life defined by hesitation instead of possibility. Ask yourself how many dreams have been delayed because of a single fearful thought. How many opportunities were missed because you believed you were not ready? Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you to wait for better timing, more experience, or greater certainty. But life rarely rewards those who wait for perfect conditions. Progress belongs to those who are willing to take the next step, even when the outcome is unknown. Every courageous action weakens fear's influence over your life. Each time you face a challenge, instead of avoiding it, your confidence becomes stronger. Confidence is not something you find first. It is something you build through repeated action. Every difficult decision, every uncomfortable moment, and every obstacle you face becomes evidence that you are capable of more than you once believed. When you stop treating fear as a prison and start seeing it as a teacher, your perspective changes completely. Fear begins to point toward the places where growth is waiting. Instead of asking, "How can I avoid this?" ask yourself, "What can this challenge teach me?" That simple shift transforms fear from a barrier into a guide. The strongest people are not fearless. They simply refuse to let fear become the author of their lives. They acknowledge it, learn from it, and keep moving forward anyway. Remember, fear may knock on the door of your mind, but only you decide whether it is allowed to enter and take control. Every step you take despite fear is another victory in the inner battle. And those victories are the ones that shape an unshakable life. Many people believe their greatest enemy is failure. Others think it is criticism, rejection, or competition. But there is another opponent that works quietly, often without being noticed. It does not attack from the outside. It lives within your own mind, disguising itself as confidence while secretly limiting your growth. That opponent is the ego. The ego always wants to protect the image you have created of yourself. It wants to appear strong even when you need to learn. It wants to be admired instead of improved. It wants to be right instead of becoming wiser. Because of this, the ego convinces you to avoid situations where you might fail, make mistakes, or appear inexperienced. It whispers that asking for help is weakness, that admitting you are wrong is defeat, and that changing your beliefs somehow diminishes your worth. In reality, these are the very actions that allow a person to grow. Think about how often people argue, not because they are searching for truth, but because they are protecting their pride. They defend opinions they no longer believe, refuse advice that could help them, and blame others for problems they have the power to solve. Every time the ego takes control, learning stops. The mind becomes closed, and progress slows. The strongest person is not the one who always wins an argument. The strongest person is the one who values truth more than being right. The ego also feeds on comparison. It constantly looks around, measuring your success against someone else's achievements. When another person succeeds, the ego feels threatened instead of inspired. It turns admiration into jealousy and cooperation into competition. This endless comparison steals your peace, because there will always be someone richer, faster, stronger, or more accomplished. If your happiness depends on being better than everyone else, you will spend your life chasing a finish line that keeps moving. True confidence does not come from proving your value to the world. It comes from knowing that your value is not determined by applause, recognition, or status. A person who is secure in themselves does not need to announce their strength. They let their actions speak. They focus on becoming better today than they were yesterday instead of trying to appear better than someone else. Humility is often misunderstood as thinking less of yourself. In reality, humility means seeing yourself clearly. It means recognizing both your strengths and your weaknesses without allowing either to control your identity. A humble person accepts correction without becoming defensive. They listen more than they speak. They remain curious because they understand that every person, every challenge, and every experience has something to teach them. Ask yourself an honest question. When was the last time your pride prevented you from growing? Perhaps you refused advice because it challenged your beliefs. Perhaps you avoided learning a new skill because you feared looking like a beginner. Maybe you held on to anger because your ego demanded that you win instead of forgive. These moments may seem small, but over time they become invisible walls that separate you from the person you are capable of becoming. Real strength is measured by your willingness to improve, not by your ability to impress. The strongest warriors never stop being students. They understand that mastery is not a destination, but a lifelong process of learning, adapting, and refining themselves. Every lesson, every setback, and every mistake becomes another opportunity to sharpen their character. The moment you stop defending your image, you free yourself to become stronger than you have ever been. You no longer waste energy pretending to know everything or trying to satisfy the expectations of others. Instead, you direct that energy toward becoming wiser, calmer, and more disciplined. That is when real transformation begins. Remember, Your character is built in the quiet decisions no one else sees. It is built when you choose honesty over pride, learning over certainty, and growth over comfort. Defeat the ego, and you remove one of the greatest obstacles standing between who you are today and who you have the potential to become. The battle is not about proving yourself to the world. It is about becoming someone who no longer needs to. Many people believe success begins with motivation. They wait to feel inspired before they take action. They tell themselves that tomorrow they will have more energy, next week they will be more focused, or someday they will finally be ready. But motivation is like the weather. Some days it is bright and powerful. Other days it disappears without warning. If your actions depend only on how you feel, your progress will always be uncertain. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask how you feel before it moves. It does not wait for excitement or confidence to appear. It understands that every meaningful achievement is built one ordinary day at a time. While motivation may help you begin, discipline is what keeps you moving long after the excitement has faded. Think about the strongest tree in a forest. It did not become strong because every day was sunny. It became strong because it remained rooted through storms, harsh winds, and changing seasons. Human character develops in much the same way. It is not the easy days that define you. It is the days when you are tired, discouraged, or distracted, yet you still choose to do what needs to be done. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a single day and underestimate what they can achieve through years of consistent effort. They chase dramatic changes, searching for quick results and instant transformation. But lasting success is rarely created by one extraordinary moment. It is created through thousands of ordinary decisions repeated with patience and purpose. Imagine two people beginning the same journey. One works only when they feel inspired. The other follows a simple routine every day, regardless of mood or circumstance. At first, their progress may seem similar. Weeks later, small differences begin to appear. Months later, the gap becomes obvious. Years later, their lives look completely different. The difference was never talent alone. It was consistency. Every action you repeat becomes part of your identity. When you choose discipline repeatedly, you begin to see yourself differently. You are no longer someone who makes promises and forgets them. You become someone who keeps commitments, especially the ones made to yourself. That quiet confidence cannot be bought or borrowed. It is earned through action. One of the greatest obstacles to discipline is the search for comfort. Comfort is attractive because it asks nothing from you. It encourages you to delay difficult tasks, avoid responsibility, and settle for less than your potential. At first, choosing comfort feels harmless. Missing one workout, postponing one goal, or delaying one important conversation seems insignificant. But comfort grows stronger every time it goes unchallenged. Eventually, it becomes a habit that quietly controls your decisions. Discipline requires you to make a different choice. It asks you to accept temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting growth. It reminds you that the difficult path often leads to the greatest rewards. Every early morning, every extra hour of practice, every moment spent improving yourself instead of seeking distractions becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. There will be days when you doubt yourself. There will be mornings when getting started feels impossible. There will be moments when your mind offers countless reasons to stop. Those moments are not signs of weakness. They are opportunities to strengthen your resolve. Every time you continue despite resistance, you teach your mind that excuses no longer have authority over your actions. Discipline also creates freedom. This may seem like a contradiction, but it is true. A disciplined mind is not controlled by laziness, fear, or impulse. A disciplined person decides where their time, energy, and attention will go, instead of allowing distractions to make those decisions. Real freedom is not doing whatever feels good in the moment. Real freedom is having enough control over yourself to choose what is truly beneficial, even when it is difficult. Do not measure your progress only by visible results. Some of the most important victories happen quietly. They happen every time you choose patience over frustration, focus over distraction, and commitment over convenience. These victories may go unnoticed by others, but they shape the person you are becoming. The strongest individuals are rarely those with the greatest natural ability. More often, they are the ones who refused to quit when progress was slow. They understood that greatness is not built through occasional bursts of effort, but through steady, determined action repeated over countless days. Ask yourself a simple question at the end of each day. Did I honor my commitment today? The answer to that question matters more than whether everything went perfectly. Perfection is impossible. Consistency is achievable. If you continue to show up, continue to learn, and continue to move forward, even in small steps, you will eventually become the kind of person who can accomplish what once seemed impossible. Remember, motivation may light the first spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning. It is the quiet force that carries you forward when excitement disappears, when challenges arise, and when no one is watching. Build your life upon that foundation, and you will discover that true strength is not found in moments of inspiration. It is revealed through unwavering commitment, day after day. Many people spend years trying to master a skill while completely ignoring the one thing that controls every skill they will ever learn, their own mind. They believe success depends only on talent, intelligence, or physical ability. They search for better techniques, better teachers, and better opportunities, hoping that something outside themselves will finally unlock their potential. Yet the greatest advantage has always been the quality of the mind directing every action. Imagine giving the most powerful sword to someone who cannot control their hands. The weapon itself is not enough. Without control, precision, and awareness, even the finest tool becomes ineffective. Your mind works the same way. Every talent you possess depends on your ability to direct your attention, manage your emotions, and remain steady when challenges appear. Before you master any craft, profession, or discipline, you must first learn to master the person who is practicing it. Your mind is like a river. When it flows calmly in one direction, it becomes powerful enough to shape mountains over time. But when it is scattered into countless streams, its strength is lost. Modern life constantly pulls your attention in different directions. Notifications interrupt your concentration. Endless comparisons distract you from your own journey. Worry about the future steals today's effort, while regret about the past drains the energy needed to move forward. A distracted mind cannot produce its best work because its power is divided. True focus is not about forcing yourself to think harder. It is about removing everything that weakens your attention. Every unnecessary distraction takes away a small piece of your energy. At first, these interruptions seem harmless. Checking your phone for a few minutes, postponing an important task, or allowing your thoughts to wander may not seem significant, but these small habits slowly train your mind to become restless. Over time, the inability to stay focused becomes a greater obstacle than any external challenge. Mental control begins with awareness. Pay attention to where your thoughts go when you face difficulty. Do you immediately think about quitting? Do you imagine failure before you even begin? Do you allow one mistake to convince you that you are incapable? These automatic reactions are not permanent truths. They are habits, and like all habits, they can be changed through consistent practice. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that emotions should control their actions. When they feel confident, they work hard. When they feel discouraged, they stop. When they feel excited, they commit fully. When the excitement fades, they abandon the journey. A disciplined mind works differently. It acknowledges emotions without allowing them to become the decision maker. Feelings are temporary visitors. Your principles and commitments should be the foundation of your actions. Every great achievement is built upon thousands of moments when someone chose concentration over distraction. Think about an artist refining a masterpiece, a musician practicing the same notes repeatedly, or an athlete repeating one movement until it becomes effortless. Their success is not created by occasional bursts of brilliance. It is created by the ability to remain fully present with one task, one movement, and one improvement at a time. Excellence grows from sustained attention. There will always be noise around you. Some people will criticize your goals. Others will question your decisions or try to pull you away from your path. The world will constantly offer distractions disguised as opportunities. If your mind follows every opinion and every temptation, you will spend your life chasing directions that were never yours. A focused person understands that not every invitation deserves acceptance, and not every opinion deserves attention. Learning to control your thoughts also means learning to control your reactions. You cannot always choose what happens around you, but you can always choose how you respond. An obstacle can become an excuse or a lesson. A setback can become a reason to quit. or an opportunity to grow stronger. Two people can face the same difficulty and leave with completely different futures because they chose different ways of thinking about the experience. Patience is another form of mental mastery. In a world that celebrates instant results, many people give up because progress feels slow. They mistake temporary struggle for permanent failure. Yet meaningful growth often happens quietly. Just as a seed develops beneath the ground before anyone sees a single leaf, your abilities are strengthening long before success becomes visible. Trust the process enough to continue even when immediate results are absent. Mental mastery also requires silence. Spend time away from constant noise. Give yourself moments to think, reflect, and observe your own patterns. In silence, you begin to notice the beliefs that limit you and the habits that strengthen you. The clearer your mind becomes, the wiser your decisions become. Clarity is not found by adding more information. It is found by removing confusion. Ask yourself an important question each day. Who is controlling my mind? Is it your fears, your emotions, other people's opinions, temporary comfort? Or is it your values, your purpose, and your commitment to becoming a better version of yourself? The answer to that question shapes every decision you make. Remember that every action begins as a thought. Every habit begins as a decision. Every achievement begins as a vision held steadily in the mind long before it becomes reality. Protect your attention as carefully as you protect your time, because attention determines where your life is going. The strongest people are not simply those who have mastered a profession, a sport, or a skill. They are the ones who have learned to remain calm under pressure, focused in the middle of chaos, patient during difficulty, and committed when distractions appear. Master your mind first, and every other skill becomes easier to learn. When your thoughts work for you instead of against you, ordinary effort begins producing extraordinary results, and the person you once hoped to become slowly becomes the person you truly are. Many people spend their lives searching for the one challenge that will finally prove their strength. They imagine a great opponent standing in their way, believing that once they overcome that obstacle, they will become unstoppable. But the greatest battle is rarely fought in front of an audience. It takes place in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It happens every morning when you choose between getting up or staying comfortable. It happens every evening when you decide whether to improve yourself or postpone your goals for another day. These small choices may seem insignificant, but together they shape the direction of your entire life. The person standing between you and your potential is often not another individual. It is the version of yourself that has become comfortable with excuses. It is the voice that says, "I'll start tomorrow," "I'm not ready yet," or "one more day won't matter." These thoughts may sound harmless, but they slowly build invisible walls around your future. Every excuse accepted today becomes a habit tomorrow. Every habit repeated becomes part of your character. If you are not careful, you will wake up years later living a life built by decisions you never consciously chose. The hardest opponent to defeat is the one who already knows all your weaknesses. It knows when you are tired, when you feel discouraged, and when your confidence begins to fade. It reminds you of every past failure while staying silent about every victory you have earned. It tells you that your goals are too difficult, your dreams are unrealistic, and your efforts are not enough. This opponent does not need to stop you completely. It only needs to convince you to hesitate. Delay is often more dangerous than defeat because it creates the illusion that you are still moving forward while nothing is actually changing. Think about how often people blame circumstances for the lives they are living. They point to a lack of time, resources, opportunities, or support. While these challenges are real, they are not always the deciding factor. History is filled with people who achieved remarkable things despite difficult beginnings. What separated them was not perfect conditions, but the decision to keep moving forward when conditions were far from perfect. They understood that waiting for life to become easier often means waiting forever. One of the greatest forms of self-deception is believing that change will happen automatically. Improvement is never accidental. It is the result of repeated choices made with intention. Every day offers a new opportunity to strengthen your discipline, expand your knowledge, and become a little better than you were yesterday. The progress may be small, almost invisible, but small improvements, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results over time. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of stone. One strike of the chisel changes very little, The second strike appears no different. Even after dozens of strikes, the stone may seem almost untouched. Then suddenly, a visible crack appears and the entire shape begins to emerge. To an observer, it may look as though the final strike created the masterpiece. In reality, every strike mattered. Your growth follows the same principle. Every disciplined action, every difficult decision, and every moment you choose progress over comfort is shaping your future, even when you cannot yet see the results. Another enemy you must overcome is your attachment to your old identity. Many people continue behaving as the person they used to be instead of the person they want to become. They carry old fears, old excuses, and old beliefs into every new opportunity. They tell themselves, "I've always been this way," as though the past has the authority to define the future. But your history explains where you have been. It does not decide where you are going. Every sunrise gives you permission to make a different choice. Growth requires letting go of habits that once felt familiar. Some habits steal your time. Others drain your confidence. Some surround you with negativity, while others convince you to settle for less than your potential. At first, releasing these habits feels uncomfortable because the familiar always feels safer than the unknown. Yet real transformation begins the moment you become more committed to your future than attached to your past. Do not measure yourself against other people. The only meaningful comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. Someone else's journey is shaped by different experiences, different opportunities, and different challenges. Comparing your beginning to another person's success only distracts you from your own progress. Instead, ask yourself one simple question every day. Am I becoming stronger than the person I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you are moving in the right direction. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you lose focus, make mistakes, or feel like you have taken a step backward. Do not mistake a temporary stumble for permanent failure. Every person striving for excellence experiences moments of doubt. What matters is not whether you fall, but whether you choose to rise again with greater wisdom than before. Resilience is built through recovery, not perfection. Remember that confidence is earned, not imagined. It grows each time you keep a promise to yourself. Every workout you complete, every skill you practice, every difficult conversation you face, and every distraction you resist becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. That trust is one of the strongest forms of confidence a person can possess because it is built on action rather than hope. Eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. The battles that once felt impossible become manageable. The habits that once required great effort become natural. The fears that once controlled your decisions lose their influence. You realize that the greatest transformation did not happen because the world changed. It happened because you changed. Your thinking became stronger, your discipline became deeper, and your commitment became unwavering. Never forget this truth. Every day you defeat laziness, excuses, fear, doubt, and the temptation to remain the same, you become a person who is harder to defeat tomorrow. The strongest individuals are not those who never struggle. They are those who refuse to surrender to the weakest version of themselves. When you continue winning that inner battle day after day, no obstacle, no criticism, and no external opponent will have the power to decide your future. The path to becoming unstoppable has never been about conquering the world first. It has always begun with conquering yourself. Remember this. The greatest victory is never over another person. It is over the version of yourself that chooses fear over courage, excuses over action, and comfort over growth. Every sunrise gives you a new battlefield, and every decision shapes the warrior you are becoming. Your true enemy has never been outside you. It has always been the doubt, ego, and hesitation within. Defeat that enemy every single day, and no obstacle in this world will be powerful enough to stop you. The battle begins now. Step forward, master yourself, and let your life become proof of your victory.